Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to those of you who decided to show up today in spite of yesterday. I am surprised to see all of you. I thought some would be like, okay, never mind, and just not come back. Happy to see you all. Yesterday, we had a brief introduction to Sanskrit grammar, meaning specifically uh, the connotation that Sanskrit is difficult. We looked at some roadblocks and how to overcome them. We talked briefly about why Sanskrit is important, and very importantly, what to expect in this class. Mm? That being said, we were supposed to start actual grammar today, but I noticed that quite a few people are still struggling with the breakup of sounds in the verses. So for the last time today, we're going to go through all the sounds and make sure everybody is very clear about how to break them up, the halant, etc. So we'll quickly, briefly go through it, and then we'll see the homework. Okay? So we're going to be reviewing the alphabet with the IAST translation. The IAST translation is I don't know, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's the official transliteration that most simply communicates all the sounds that there are in Sanskrit accurately with the English alphabet. So you never need to guess which sound you should be making when you see an English letter. This is only until you become very familiar with the script. In fact, those of you who are brave, I challenge you to take a sankalpa, uh, a resolution that after a certain number of days, you're never going to look at the English again, right? So you can decide that in your mind after 5 days, after 2 weeks, after 1 month, whatever the timeline is for you, depending on how smoothly you're able to read the letters. Once you take that resolution, you will see that your reading will become much faster. It will become much more accurate, and you will never need this thing again, right? This is only a support temporarily for us to start our Sanskrit grammar. So first, vowels. Vowels we saw a, I, o, u, r, a, o, ah. Now, a few noteworthy things. I've written examples for each of them. I'll send this sheet to all of you, okay? So you can just follow. If I'm going to send notes, I'll tell you in advance that I'm sending these, so you don't need to write, okay? All the green letters are short letters, short vowels, and all the blue ones are long vowels. This is important when you're chanting. The short vowels are pronounced for like one beat, whatever the beat is, and the long vowels are pronounced for 2 beats. So when you're chanting, you'll hear a difference. They're actually scientifically designed to be chanted at a different length from each other. So you should know that the green ones are short and the blue ones are long. Then please also note the vowel symbols for each of the sounds, because in the language we don't use the vowels in the middle of words, we only use them at the beginning. The other thing is the anusvara and the visarga are not really vowels. They're put with the vowels because you always need to write them with a vowel. So their placeholder anusvara is just the dot. It's not the a plus the dot. This dot is the anusvara, and the 2 dots is the visarga. Everyone knows how to pronounce it. Now, let me tell you what the transliteration for each of these letters is that we will be using in this class, and that I recommend you use whenever you're looking for anything in English. A is written with an A. That is why when you read anything and you see an A like Bhagavan, it's not Bhagavan, it's Bhagavan. The A is actually the English umbrella sound, right? So That has to be a very strong association in your mind. Otherwise, you will constantly make mistakes in your pronunciation. Then A is the A with the line on top because it's the long version, right? So there's a line on top showing that it's the long version. It is the I. Not A is not I, E is not I. This it, when we use the letter I, English I, it's the it in itch, it's the it in give. Okay? And when we use I with the line on top, that is E, the double E in English. E like cheese, like email, that E sound is represented by I with a dash on the top. Long E. Okay? O, like foot and put, is represented by letter U. And you can guess what U will be. Not O. U will be U with the line on top. Okay, so far so good? Okay. R is represented by R with a dot underneath it. R. Okay, so you know when you see R with a dot underneath it, or when you see everybody, a lot of people are making mistakes. When you see the vowel symbol R, the little C underneath the consonant, it is not the consonant R. It is the vowel R. R. Okay, so please don't make that mistake. Remember, R is a vowel. It is not a consonant. Then, what do you think R will be if it is the long version of R? It is the same R with a line on top. So all the short and long vowels have the same letter. The long version just has a line on top. Okay? Then we continue. A. Now this Sanskrit A is written as letter E in transliteration. Okay? Sanskrit A is letter E. Like cake. Once you get used to it, you won't make mistakes, right? You just have to get, oh, you know, a good example will be 8. We have that sound in E in English also, right? The A in 8, that is the A in this one. Then I double underlined it because it is not like high, like the I per se. It's more like a I. You have to twist your tongue slightly differently. And it is written in Sanskrit transliteration as AI. I. So I. Then O is easy. O is written as letter O. O is written as AU. So that's 2 letters combining to make one sound. Is written as, the A is from the and the M is written with a dot on top. Okay, that anuswara comes on the M also. I'll address the anuswara in one moment when we get to the nasals. And the the is, I'm going to write it just next to this. The A again is from the and the visarga is written with a dot underneath an H. So when you see an H dot, it is a visarga sound. Okay? Cool? So this is the transliteration for the vowels. Now, Hindi speakers, I tried my best to try and remember the differences between Hindi and Sanskrit. They come up naturally when teaching. I don't know if I covered all, but I'm going to try, and then as we go along, if there are others, I'll point them out. In Hindi, the vowel in the substantive form can appear in words like jao, ao, etc. But in Sanskrit, the vowel in the substantive form can never appear in the middle of words. Substantive form is this etc. Right? The full vowel. In Sanskrit, once you're in the middle of a word, it is only the vowel symbol that is used. You will never find 2 vowels next to each other in Sanskrit. So that's one key difference between the 2 languages. Now consonants. For the 5 lines of the consonants, I've written where the sound comes from. So you can make sure you're saying it correctly every single time. Mhm. And please remember the halant is part of the consonant, right? All the halants are part of the consonant. I shouldn't have read. They're part of the consonant and they indicate that there is no vowel. You cannot say it on its own. Like say cat without the a sound. The sound doesn't come out. It needs a vowel to come out. So we say k, k, g, k, ng, but it's actually just k, k, like that pure sound without the vowel is what the sound actually is, and that is represented by the halant. Halant means no vowel. So in transliteration, how it is written, k is written with a k, not with a c, with a k. K is written with a kh. G is written with a g. G is written with a gh. And ng, now ng is written with the n with a dot on the top. See how this dot is on the top over here? The dot comes on the top of the n, okay? So when you see an n with a dot on top, you should know this is the sound, okay? And the sound comes from the back of the throat. G, k, g, g, ng. You should hear the sound in the back of your throat. Now, cha, 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 nya, that comes, your tongue is touching the back, the top side teeth in your mouth. Cha is written as a C. So when you see CA, it's not G, it is J. Cha is written with a CH. J is a J, that's easy. Ch is JH. And Nya is N with a squiggly. You just have to remember that it has the squiggly. Okay, so N with a squiggly is this. An inch. Anjali. Like that. Okay. Next comes the Indian line. Your tongue is touching the roof of the middle of your mouth, like our Pac-Man. And the sounds are da, tha, da, dha, na. It is written T with a dot underneath. What do you think the next one will be? Very simply, TH with the dot just underneath the T, not underneath both. Okay? D is written, this whole line has a dot underneath. Every time you see a dot underneath, you know it comes from this line. Okay? And the N also, N has a dot underneath. This whole line has a dot underneath the letters. Okay? Then we go to the normal the, th, n, and here the tongue is touching the back front teeth. And it is written the same way, just without the dot. The, th, the, th, n. Then we come to the last line, which has lips closed. P, p, b, p, m. This is p, p. This is p. Hindi speakers, this is not f. In Hindi, it is f. In Sanskrit, it is p. Actually, in Hindi, it's also supposed to be p, but it is Urduized. So we say f in Hindi, right? But this is p. The same p sound in the aspirate, p. Then there is b, p, m. Right? Now, remember, this first whole line is unvoiced. This whole line is unvoiced, meaning you don't use your voice box. The next line is that same spot the sound comes from, but it comes with the Mahaprana, the aspirate. K, k. It comes out with air. You have to give your lungs practice if you're not used to saying it. We don't say ghost, we say ghost. Now, all of a sudden, when you have to say, we don't say ghee, we say ghee. So now when you come to Sanskrit, you have to put effort and practice saying it. Otherwise, because your lungs are not used to it, it's a new muscle you're using. You have to practice to get used to it, okay? Then this line is the voiced version. So you use the voice box in the same spot. This is the voiced aspirate. You use that same sound. You just put the h, k, j, like that, right? And this line is the nasal. Now, the way you say it is you try and pronounce n with the sound of the third line. So you try and say n with g. Ng, automatically it will come out like hanger. Nj, nj, like Anjali. Well, let me write that example, Anjali. Right, you pronounce it with the middle line. Then Ganesha, Ramayana, the R sound. You try and this one, if you know Vakratunda, tunda, like that does sound, right? The N is normal N without any dots, and the M is normal M. Now I want to mention something about the Anusvara. If you remember, I had said the Anusvara is a placeholder. A lot of people are making mistakes in the breakdown. When you see or when you see gum, or any letter like this with the Anusvara in the Sanskrit words, this is a placeholder for all the nasals. You have to write the correct nasal when you're breaking it up. If the word written is Anjali, you're not going to write plus j, Halan. You're going to write, this is wrong. You're going to write a plus n Halan plus j Halan onwards. Clear? Wherever you see the Anusvara, the dot, you have to figure out which nasal it is referring to and break it up into the vowel and the nasal. It is wrong if you don't break it up, for my sake. Means when I ask you for the breakup and you don't break it up, that is two mistakes because you didn't write the vowel separately and you didn't write the Anusvara separately. Okay, so please keep that in mind when you're breaking up. Now we go to semi-vowels. Semi-vowels are yara, lava. That is not hard to mistake in English. It's the same sound, yara, lava. And then sh, sa. The sh, the 21 sh is written as a S with a little hat. You know, this same accent is there in French, right? But it sounds different in Sanskrit. S with a little hat. Sh is written S with a dot underneath. And S is written like normal S. The sh sound comes from the same spot as ch. When you say ch and you say sh, they have the same placement in your mouth. When you say sh, it has the same placement as t, the whole t line. And when you say s, it has the same placement as the t line. So this shows the placement of where it is in your mouth. And then h is written as h without any dot. Okay, so this is how transliteration goes. You're only going to need it for a few more days or weeks, and then you're going to fully switch to Sanskrit. Okay, now the halant. The halant is your new best friend. I wrote this on purpose, everybody's new best friend. You can change best friend to BFF or to whatever new version there is to say best friend nowadays. But the halant is your best friend. If there is a halant, you have to say the word without a vowel, and if there is no halant, you have to say it with the vowel. What is the halant? Remember, the halant is the little stroke at the bottom of the consonant, and the presence of the halant indicates there's an absence of a vowel. The absence of a halant indicates there is a presence of a vowel. I mean, there's a of presence of a vowel, right? And if there's no vowel symbol, it means the is the vowel that is there. For example, in Hindi, if someone sees this word, they will say Ram. But in Sanskrit, it is Rama because there is no halant. If we want you to say Ram, we will put a halant in Sanskrit. If there's no halant, it is Rama. So Hindi speakers, this is one of the most common mistakes. You just omit the pronunciation of halant. Please make sure to switch your mind from Sanskrit, Hindi to Sanskrit when you come into this class. Okay? Now, a couple more things, three last things. So in Hindi, the halant is rarely used outside of conjunct consonants, but in Sanskrit, we always use it. Then the pronunciation of pa, I noted it is different in both languages. The pronunciation of this sound is also very different. In Hindi, you'll say gya. In Sanskrit, it is nya. It is not gya, it is nya. Now, anybody who didn't come to the first course who's having issues with conjunct consonants, you please go and review those classes 10 to 13, I think, like 90% sure those were the classes, to make sure you know how to say all of them. What sound is this made of? Is this made of? Is this made of? And all the other ones like dia and the, halant and the, you have to be very familiar with. Okay? This is a quick review of all the sounds. Now let me talk to you about the homework. There were 4 mistakes over here and you had to spot them. Today I'm going to make mistakes and not tell you how many there are. There are, and then you have to see how many you find. Right? It's easier to find somebody else's mistake than your own. So keep finding my mistakes and you'll get there, right? I'll make the mistakes on your behalf and you find them. The first mistake was, let me see if I can find it now. Oh, there were 2 of the same mistake, by the way. Kshahalant, kshahalant. Twice it came. If you write ksha, it is not breaking up all the sounds. Ksha is not its own sound. Ksha is kahalant plus shahalant plus whatever goes on after that. Then there were a couple of halants missing. Let me see where I missed them. One was here, and the other one was here. So those were the 4 mistakes. If you found more mistakes, please tell me. But those are the 4 I intended to make. And sometimes I make mistakes unintentionally also. The other thing I want to note here is this visarga. Please note, the visarga comes with the aha. It's not a plus aha. When you see the visarga with the ihi, it's not I plus aha. You make sure not to make that mistake. Then, in this section now, let me see. Oh yes, one other very common mistake. When you see a word like Hari, right? It is not hahalant plus a plus ra plus ra. That means this loop on top is not in its own ra, and this line here is not, the a doesn't come before the ra. You're writing out the sounds as they're supposed to be pronounced in order. Okay? So this is wrong. It is hahalant plus a plus rahalant plus a. I hope everybody sees that very clearly. This is what I mean when I say you break up all the sounds. Oh, and if there was a ihi, it will just be ihi. Okay? So, your homework for today, this homework is never going to leave you. For the rest of your life, you're going to keep seeing it surface back. It is 1.4 and 1.5 of Bhagavad Gita. Okay? That's your homework for today. And I'm going to send the answers with mistakes, and I'm not going to tell you where the mistakes are. You have to find them and point them out. And I would like everybody to get to a point where you're making zero mistakes in the breakdown of these sounds. Those who joined class this batch, you're going to do 1.1 to 1.5. And it sounds like a lot, but because you know the script already, you have an advantage. So you are going to do 1.1 to 1.5. Please don't look at the answers before you do it. Okay? So this is a review from tomorrow. Nobody should make any mistakes pronouncing anything in this class. Okay? I'll pause here. I will do closing prayer, and then I will take any questions. And tomorrow, get ready for some English. Tomorrow, bring your English grammar hat. You have to exercise your English grammar brain tomorrow. Okay, we'll start properly, officially grammar tomorrow morning. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay, question.